Tucked away off Route 17, about 40 miles north of Albany, stood the Golden Pines Motel. It wasn't glamorous, wasn't famous, and it wasn't the kind of place you'd expect to attract much attention. It was the sort of roadside stop truckers used for a few hours of rest, or families booked when they couldn't afford the larger hotels in the city. The Golden Pines had 16 rooms. They all looked identical from the outside. Narrow white doors, a single square window, a peeling number screwed into the frame. Each unit smelled faintly of cleaning solution and old wood. For years, the motel ran without incident. But today, if you ask locals about Golden Pines, most will only shake their heads. Some will tell you to never book room 6. Others will claim the room has been boarded up for decades. A few will say it was demolished entirely. No one can agree on the details. But they all know one thing. In April of 1998, something happened there. Something that has never been explained. On the night of April 11th, 1998, the motel's front desk attendant, Cynthia Holloway, was finishing her evening shift. It was raining steadily outside, thunder rolling in the distance. She later recalled that a man walked in just after 9 p.m. He introduced himself as Daniel Hargrove. According to Cynthia's testimony, he was quiet, polite, and carried only a small suitcase. She noticed 2 things about him. He wore a long gray overcoat despite the humidity. His eyes seemed restless, like he hadn't slept in days. When she asked if he preferred a smoking or non-smoking room, he requested, almost immediately, "Give me the one that faces the woods." That was room 6. He paid in cash. No ID, no credit card on file. Cynthia didn't think much of it. In the late 90s, cash transactions at small motels weren't unusual. The man took his key and walked down the row of rooms. That was the last time anyone saw him in person. For the next 3 days, room 6 appeared occupied. The Do Not Disturb sign hung on the door. Occasionally, a tray of food would be left outside. The curtains stayed closed. By April 14th, housekeeping had grown concerned. Guests rarely stayed that long without leaving at least once. The cleaning staff asked Cynthia if she'd seen Hargrove. She said no, and, strangely, couldn't remember ever seeing him leave or enter again after check-in. The motel manager decided they'd wait until checkout time. But checkout came and went, and room 6 remained locked. Finally, around 2 p.m., a maid named Angela Perez unlocked the door. Angela would later describe the room as eerily clean. The bed was perfectly made. The blinds were open. The only personal item missing was the suitcase. But something was left behind. On the desk, beside the motel notepad and a Bible, sat a black leather-bound diary. Its edges were worn, as if it had been handled obsessively. The first page was dated April 12, 1998. Angela flipped it open. At first, the entries seemed harmless. Weather observations, sketches of birds, bits of poetry. But then, halfway through, the tone shifted. One entry read, April 13th, 1998. The man in the red cap will collapse in the diner at noon tomorrow. His heart will fail before the waitress reaches him. Angela thought it was strange, but shrugged it off. Then she remembered. The diner across the street had been buzzing earlier that day. A regular patron, a man known for always wearing a red baseball cap, had suffered a sudden heart attack. He died instantly. The next entry, April 14th, 1998. 2 cars will collide on Route 22 at dusk. The boy in the passenger seat won't make it. Later that night, sirens wailed down the highway. News confirmed a fatal accident exactly as described. By this point, Angela's hands were trembling. She turned the page. The next entry read, April 19th, 1998. The woman in the blue uniform will read these words. She won't finish her shift. The water will take her. Angela froze. She was wearing her blue housekeeping uniform. The entry was unmistakably describing her. Terrified, she ran out of the room and reported it to the manager. The diary was locked away in the office safe, and Angela, shaken to her core, quit her job the same evening. 3 days later, on April 19th, Angela failed to return home. Her car was found abandoned near the Otsquago Creek Bridge. The keys were still in the ignition. Heavy rain that week had swollen the river, making it nearly impossible to search thoroughly. Despite extensive efforts, her body was never recovered. The official explanation was that Angela had drowned, but her family insisted she wasn't suicidal, and police could never explain why she would stop her car mid-bridge. The chilling part, her disappearance matched the exact wording in the diary. "The water will take her." Police launched a formal investigation. The diary was sent to the state crime lab. What they found only deepened the mystery. Handwriting analysis. The writing did not match any known samples. It appeared to have been written by multiple people or someone deliberately altering styles. Ink and paper. The ink was traced to a European brand not sold anywhere in New York at the time. The paper in the diary was decades old, manufactured in the 1960s. Fingerprints. Smudge prints were lifted from the pages, but none matched Daniel Hargrove. In fact, police discovered no one by that name existed in state or federal databases. Even more disturbing, later pages in the diary contained predictions of future events, small, local tragedies that continued to occur over the next several weeks. Car accidents, fires, and even a drowning at a nearby lake. All is described in unsettling detail. The very last written entry ended with, "The next to read will be," the sentence trailed off midline. Forensic experts discovered faint indentations on the following page, as though someone had started writing but stopped. But no words were visible. No one knows if the sentence was ever finished. After Angela's disappearance, the Golden Pines Motel closed room 6 permanently. But that didn't stop rumors. Guests who stayed in neighboring rooms claimed they heard scratching noises at night, as if someone were writing furiously against paper. Others reported dreams of drowning or being trapped in a car, filling slowly with water. One guest swore she heard a voice whisper from inside the locked room, "Don't read it." The motel changed ownership several times. Each new owner was told the same thing: never rent room 6. Eventually, the door was bolted shut and the number removed. The diary remains in police evidence storage to this day. Investigators never determined who wrote it, how the predictions were made, or what happened to the mysterious guest. Occasionally, requests are made by researchers to examine the diary. Most are denied. The few who claim to have seen it describe an overwhelming sense of dread, as though, in their words, the diary is watching you. One archivist admitted anonymously, "There are more pages written since it was first found. The ink is newer. No one can explain it." The case leaves behind a web of unanswered questions. Who was Daniel Hargrove? Was that even his real name? How did he know about events before they happened? Why did he target Angela Perez in particular? And most chilling of all, is the diary still predicting events even now? Over 2 decades later, the Golden Pines Motel has fallen into disrepair. The sign is rusted, the rooms abandoned, the windows boarded. But travelers along Route 17 still whisper about Room 6. Some say if you press your ear to the door, you'll hear the sound of pages turning. Others claim you'll hear a pen scratching, writing your name. Angela Perez's family never received closure. They still leave flowers by the bridge where her car was found. And somewhere, locked away in a police storage facility, sits a black leather diary. Its last unfinished line haunts anyone who dares to open it. The next to read will be, "Whoever finishes that sentence may never live to tell the tale."